we are going to be making some absolutely gorgeous chocolate orange cookies. These cookies do take a little bit of time, not to put together, but they need chilling time in between making and baking. So if you're going to make these, do allow an hour in the middle where you can chill the dough. So there's only 4 ingredients in this recipe, which makes it very easy to remember. I've got vegan butter here. If you've never used vegan butter before, Flora, let me show you the front of this, have brought out this vegan butter, and it just says Flora plant-based. You can get it in most supermarkets. It's a brilliant substitute. It's the best substitute I've found for butter so far. Haven't found anything else on the market that I think is as good or works as well as this. So what I'm going to do to start with, I've got 85 grams of light soft brown sugar, and I need 175 grams of the Flora butter, vegan butter obviously. Now I know that this is 175 grams here, so I'm just going to cut it up into chunks and pop it in. Okay, obviously my hands are clean, and as soon as I've got it in, I will be giving them a wipe. Okay, you need this to be preferably at room temperature. So I haven't bothered to keep this in the fridge last night, I've just left it out, and it's nice and easy to work with. Okay, so pop this under your mixer, just give my hands a wipe, and then you're going to beat this until it's just come together. Okay, so I'm just going to turn it on low, and then once it's all mixed up, I'm going to take it off. Okay, you might need to scrape down the sides in between, so just grab yourself a little spatula and make sure you scrape down those sides. You want it to pick up everything on the bottom as well as the sides. Okay, give that scraper a little wipe off. Okay, once you've got that mixed together, make sure you get everything off your beater. You can do this by hand if you don't have a stand mixer. You know, any stand mixer will do, but if you don't have a stand mixer, you can do it by hand. You'll just grow amazing biceps quite quickly. Or you could do it with a little handheld mixer, and they're quite inexpensive to get one of those. Okay, so just put this aside and take my mix out. If you're not using a stand mixer, make sure if you are using a stand mixer, sorry, when you're not using it, always put the head down because it can damage them. Okay, so I'm just gonna, with my scraper, go all the way around, make sure I've got it all. It's like a lovely light caramel coloured paste now. Now I'm gonna add to this, I'm gonna add in 200 grams of plain flour. This has already been sifted. And on top of that, I'm gonna grate in the rind of an orange. When you're grating rind, whether it be lemon, lime, orange, anything, you want to grate it so you go almost just down to the white, but never through the white, especially with lemons and limes as well. The white part doesn't taste very nice, so you just want to take off the juicy zest off the top. So I'm going to put this whole orange zest in and give it a gorgeous flavour. If you wanted to add chocolate chips at this point, you can do. We're going to add our chocolate at the end when we drizzle it over once they've been baked. Let me drop my orange in there. Okay, so I think I've got all the orange there. Tap off any excess or scrape off anything you can. You want to get all the flavour in there. And then I'm just going to quite gently mix this in until it's all folded through. Okay, so this has pretty much all come together now. You can see. For the very last bit, you need to use your hands. So you can see as I'm wiping it off on the side there, it's clumped together. That is what you're looking for, okay? So I'm now gonna get it. I've got 2 pieces of cling film that I've laid down on my work surface, just directly on top of each other, just for a little bit of extra thickness. I've laid 2 instead of 1. And then I'm just gonna tip it out onto my cling film in a little line. Now you can mix it together with your hands in the bowl if you want to, but I find at this stage it's easier to tip it out. I'm going to bring it together in a bit of a log shape, okay? So literally just start to mould it into a bit of a log. I know it doesn't look great at this point, but I promise you it will soon. Okay, so get it into a rough log shape. You can knead it a little bit if you want, but you don't want to over knead it. We want this to be a really lovely, flaky, crumbly biscuit, okay? Now once you've got that log shape, you're going to wrap around your cling film, both sides, try and get it nice and tight, and then up on either end, okay? And you can always give it a little roll at this point, shape it a bit more, okay? So we're gonna give that an extra little roll there. This now needs to go into the freezer or the fridge for about an hour. If you're gonna put it in the freezer, you'll probably only need 20 to 30 minutes. In the fridge, we'll need about an hour. So I'm gonna pop this in my fridge now and meet back here in a bit. Okay, welcome back. So my chocolate orange cookies have now been in the fridge for about an hour. So I've got them out and they look a lot better than when I first put them in. The shape is set, it's nice and moulded. So all I'm gonna do is, it depends how thick you want the cookies or how thin. I don't like them too thick. So I'm gonna cut a row of rounds. The end one might crumble a little bit, don't worry about that if it does. So I'm gonna discard that bit. And then I'm gonna cut chunks. Now you might get 12 out of this, you might get 15, it depends how big you like your cookies to be, okay? So I'm just gonna place them directly onto a baking tray and we're gonna put them straight into our preheated oven that's at 180 degrees and that's in a fan oven. Okay, so it is really hot. They only take 11 minutes to cook, so you need to keep your eye on them, keep the timer on and keep your eye on them. I would recommend put the timer on for about 9.5 minutes first and then check them. See if they need any longer. Mine have started to go on a diagonal slant here that I wasn't really planning, but we'll have to keep going with it now. So I want them that nice thickness. Okay, get one more on there. And I can always do those bits on a tray. Okay, so I've got all my cookies there. Ooh. Weld that bit on there. Okay, so I'm going to pop these into my oven now, and in 11 minutes I'm going to take them out. You need to let them cool on this tray for at least 5 to 10 minutes. They'll be really crumbly when they first come out, so don't try and put them on a cooling wire straight away, okay? So 11 minutes, let's go. Okay, so my cookies had 11 minutes in the oven, and then I did put them on for 1 extra minute. I turned the tray around, gave them an extra minute, and then they were perfect. So they've been cooling in the tray now for about 5 to 10 minutes, and I'm just shuffling underneath a cake knife and placing them on my cooling rack. Ooh, they're not actually hot anymore, but you do need to be quite careful when you move them because they are quite crumbly, okay? So I'm gonna pop them on my cooling rack and then I'm gonna melt some chocolate and drizzle it over. What I tend to do is, once I've got them on the cooling rack, instead of getting rid of this baking paper, just pick up your cooling rack and pop it on top. And this is because when I drizzle my chocolate over, it's gonna save me having to clean up all of my worktop as well. I can just take the baking paper and then throw it away. Okay, so vegan chocolate. This one is from Tesco and it's the Free From Kitchen. There's lots of different brands and I tend to pick and choose different brands for different recipes. They're all pretty good. I do quite like this one. I've got 50 grams here that I've just cut up into chunks. I'm gonna put it in the microwave for 20 seconds and then I'm gonna give it a stir. I'm gonna do that twice, maybe 3 times, and then it'll be all melted. I'm not gonna put it straight in for a minute because that's gonna burn the chocolate. You want to do it in short, sharp bursts, okay? So 20 seconds, mix, 20 seconds, mix again, and then I'll show you when it's melted. Okay, so I've got my chocolate here. It's melted just as nicely as regular chocolate would. Okay, so all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take up my teaspoon, let it drizzle, and then I'm going to drizzle over the cookies. Okay, if you start the drizzle in the bowl and then move off, you'll get nice lines. But if you pick it up and then start over the cookie, you'll get a massive clump as your first one. So let it start in the bowl, move it off, drizzle it over. Depending on how much is on your spoon, you might get a couple of cookies covered in one spoon. Now, if you wanted to add white chocolate, white vegan chocolate as well, you could do, which would be nice. But chocolate and dark orange is just, in my eyes, one of the best combinations. All right, here we go. And you can see that the chocolate that's underneath, that's fallen through on the cooling wire, you're not gonna have to wipe up or clean down all your see there's a blob there, workstation afterwards, because it's just gone on that baking paper, which you're gonna be throwing away anyway. Okay, so there we go, that's 50 grams of vegan chocolate used, and that's covered all of those cookies really nicely. So if I just take that off there, so you can see now, they'll be set probably in the next 10 to 12 minutes. They are delicious. Perfect for afternoon cuppa, 11s, whatever you fancy. Anyway, I hope you enjoy making them.